And we are live. What's good, Charles? Your man, Bill Saint. Welcome. Really want to know podcast. How y'all feeling? Late night edition. What's good, y'all? How y'all doing? Happy, what is today? Thursday? Happy Thursday. Look, I lost track. Everything is out of sorts on my end, guys. Like we're putting everything together, putting the city back together, getting back into the swing of things with, after Hurricane Milton and Helene did their thing. So forgive me for being a little out of sorts. Um, I was on earlier today. I was Based Oracle. Shout out to Base. Invited me over to this platform, man, so we could talk about that balloon pop show that's all the rage right now. It's like taking YouTube by storm. Shout out to those people. Um, it was fun. We had a good time talking about what we saw on there, bro. And I'm telling you, yeah, it is what it is. But shout out to Base, man. Thanks for that, bro. Really appreciate it. Had a good time. But what I want to talk about, guys, and I've been, I planned to do this show before the last hurricane. And I instead of doing one long show, I was going to do a series of a couple of shows. I want to show you guys what's going on, about what's happening with the insurance industry down here in Florida. It's also a problem in all the Gulf states, Texas, especially California as well. Bro, it's getting bad out here. And I don't know if it's going to get any better anytime soon, bro. So you guys are probably wondering what I'm talking about. So, let's just get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed, guys. So what am I talking about here with this insurance market, man? Like, what's going on down here? Well, Florida is known for hurricanes, right? California is known for wildfires and earthquakes. Texas on the Gulf Coast, they get hurricanes, but they also get tornadoes as well. Because you got Tornado Alley and all this other kind of stuff. Well, these storms have been more intense than in the past, creating more damage. One and two. The cost of housing has gone through the roof here in Florida over the past 5 years, especially. So it costs more money to insure these homes. It is what it is. Insurance companies, they're not here to help you. They're a business. They're there to make money. And they can't make money if your house gets knocked down every year in Florida because of a hurricane, right? So, and if you want them to be able to put your house back together, you got to pay them more and more and more. So that's always been a problem here. Going back to Hurricane Andrew in 1992, it was such a problem, in fact, because Andrew was a Cat 5 storm, was a vicious storm, did a lot of damage down there in Dade County. And people were like, hey, man, we got to leave. We can't afford this. This is crazy. You know what I mean? It's scary. It's unsafe. And insurance companies were like, hey, man, we got to raise premiums to cover this stuff because, this is a business. And people were leaving the state. So Florida decided they needed to do something to keep people from leaving. And they came up with a state-backed insurance company of last resort. It's called Citizens. We talked about this on the other show yesterday. I think it was when we were reacting to brother Ken McElroy. Shout out to him. And that was, that did the trick. People were like, okay, we'll stay stabilized. And then people started coming down to Florida, buying homes and whatever. But here recently, after the pandemic, people were coming here and the cost of the homes down here went through the roof. So you have places in Florida where, 8 years ago, you get a house, that house probably would have hit you for about, 175, maybe 250. Now that same home, depending on where it is going for close to $600,000-$700,000. Well, if the property values all over the state has gone up, then it's going to cost more money to insure them, because if your house gets knocked down or damaged, you got to fix it. Right. So we're going to talk about what's going on with these insurance companies and what kind of play they're running. And this is going to be crazy. Brother Dino's in the building. What's good, fam? He's like, who thought DeSantis will make a good president? A lot of people, man. At the time that decided to run, a lot of people thought he was the dude. They wanted to move on from Trump. But they got to get a good look at DeSantis, and they decided they didn't want to rock with him. The thing with Ron DeSantis, like I said this before, he should have listened to the people on his team, and I'm pretty sure there were people telling him, like, don't try to run for 2024. Wait for 2028. Let's just focus on what we got to do down here in Florida. This thing with the insurance is not DeSantis' fault. It's not something he did to cause all this, right? Every governor in Florida since 1992 has had to deal with this. This is a problem that he inherited, but he hasn't really done anything, and it looks like everything is going to unravel on his watch. So as far as his political aspirations go, I mean, as far as getting to the White House, I think he's done. I don't think he has a shot. But and depending on how he handles this, because this will be a crisis. You guys mark my words. If you've been following me, I've been talking about this for a couple years. It's coming to a head. This is all coming to a head now. And DeSantis is the guy this is his watch. So he's gonna have to deal with this. He's gonna have to eat this. And he's gonna have to figure out something. I don't believe he has a plan. I don't believe he's really been worried about this, to be honest with you. But now he has no choice. As soon as this election is over, so we got like 20 some odd days. Once this election is over, man, I'm telling y'all, this is going to be one of the major stories here in the U.S. What's going to happen in Florida with the insurance crisis? Because they're going to call it a crisis, and they're going to be, this is going to affect the housing market. This is going to affect everyone down here in Florida, and this might be the first domino to fall that's going to, set off the rest of the country, the Gulf Coast, right? So you're looking at the Carolinas, and you're looking at Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, right? And then, like I said, you go to the West Coast, you look at California, with the fires out there. We all know it's going to be a big earthquake. The big one's coming. We all know it. The big one's coming. You can't get insurance. Now, there's a difference between the red and the blue states out here on how they handle it. Democrats tend to be more buyer savvy, and what I mean by that, they want to be more protective of the consumer, of the buyers, and then the red states tend to be more protective of the business side, of the owners and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is. But down here in Florida, I'm here to tell you, and we're gonna get into it. This insurance thing, man, is massive. It's massive. This thing has the potential to bring down a major correction in the housing market, which will be good for some people. But here's the thing, even if the housing costs come down, like, okay, now let's say the median house in Florida goes from 400,000 down to 200,000. That sounds great, but you still got to insure it. So that's the problem. And then also interest rates got to come down as well. You guys see what I'm going with this. So we're going to start off with a video from one of my favorite YouTube platforms, Breaking Points. Shout out to them. Sager and Crystal doing their thing. Flood insurance, Brother Dino's like, yeah, flood insurance is a separate issue. Flood, high winds, hurricane, tornado, it's all blended in to this play. You guys about to see what's going on what I'm talking about. Bro, people can't afford to fix these homes at these prices. That's what it boils down to. And like I said, insurance companies have pulled out of Florida. The state has been doing everything they can to get them to come back into Florida. There's all sorts of, there's just a mess, guys. It's just a mess. Well, we're going to check this out. In the description below, there's a 60 minutes episode expose about this. We're not going to cover the entire 60-minute thing, but you guys need to watch that. You guys really need to check that out and see what the insurance companies are doing. Right. I'm just telling you, and this is not a new play. Once we get into this, you'll see what I'm talking about. But let's start here with what Breaking Points is talking about. What's going on in Florida. The title of this episode, Florida Boom Over ? Residents flee as insurance disaster looms. We're in it. We're in it, guys. Remember what Ken McElroy said yesterday when we were breaking down, reviewing reacting to his episode? There are 50,000 people out there right now trying to get the insurance companies to pay on their claims. 50,000 from Hurricane Ian. That was 2 years ago. They're still trying to get their money from the insurance companies on those claims from a legit storm 2 years ago. What do you think is going to happen now with this Helene and Milton thing? I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. Brother Mandrell's in the building. What's good, fam? It's crazy. So let's get into it. Let's check this out. This is Breaking Point. Sagar and Crystal. Here we go.
Florida. We've been teasing it for long enough, right?
Yes, indeed. So, this is significant just in terms of the broader sort of conversation about where we are in terms of our economy, in terms of home ownership, in terms of some of the political contours. Even Ron DeSantis and Republicans have been really proud of how many people have moved to the state of Florida and how vibrant that economy has been. There are some signs that some of that could be reversing for a range of reasons. Number one, housing prices have just gone up in the state of Florida because a lot of people move there, and housing prices are kind of going up everywhere. So that's number one. Obviously, the mortgage interest rate situation, again, that's a national issue. You also have had this problem with home property owners insurance, which is a total disaster, which I'll get into the specifics of a little bit more in a moment. And then you have a situation after, remember that condo building that collapsed and killed a bunch of people? It was horrifying.
That was Miami.
Well, in response to that, there's they're imposing these levies so that these older condo buildings can be brought up to the code so you don't see that again. But that's causing issues too with the prices and the level of those assessments, which sometimes can reach into like hundreds of thousands of dollars for individual condo owners. So that, and then most obviously, recently, you had these two back-to-back massive storms hit almost the entire state of Florida, which is making a lot of people go like, why do I want to move into a place that's just going to be routinely hit by massive storms and flooded, and I can't even get property owners insurance? So it is really putting a chill on that whole market. We can put this up.
Now, what she's talking about is spot on, right? This is why I like watching what they're doing over there on Breaking Points. So she was talking about a condo that collapsed, right? That was in Miami, North Miami Beach, if I'm not mistaken. I forget how many years ago that happened, but you had a condo that just collapsed, just one night, just fell down. Right now, the condo had all kind of problems, and it shouldn't have made it through the inspection process, but it did. And the association for the condo, for the building, they were cutting corners and not fixing stuff that needed to be fixed. So the thing just fell down. Lots of people didn't survive that event. One of the things that, and this happened on DeSantis's watch, so it wasn't that long ago, right? So one of the things that came from that is, hey, we don't want this to happen again. They put some laws on the books statewide. We're going to have all the associations, all these buildings are going to have to go in here, and they're going to have to do these inspections. They're going to make sure that everyone's up to code, that everyone's, doing what they got to do. We do not want to lose people to something like this, which is really preventable, right? Just the building just crumbling away and falling down and taking the lives of a bunch of folks, right? So fine, that's what they did. The minute they did that, and I don't, guys, I don't know the letter of this particular law or whatever, but the moment they did that, they had to go, the associations had to pay for engineers to come in. They had to pay to do all this stuff. I guess the city and state the state and the city governments sent people in to do the inspections and say, hey, you guys got to fix this. So what do? They're like, all right, this is how much it's going to cost to fix everything. We're going to split it amongst however many, units we have here. And we're going to give you an assessment and tell you how much your share of this bill is. Some people in Miami were getting assessments, well into the six figures, right? And we're not talking about Brickell, Wynwood, like the up and coming Miami. No, we're talking about North Miami Beach, right? We're talking about Aventura. We're talking about places where the retirees go. And these folks are sitting there looking at $100,000, $150,000 bill. It's like, hey, we're going to need that money in like 3 months. And they don't know what to do about it, right? They're stuck. They're just not sitting on an extra $150,000. And that's statewide, guys. So the numbers, of course, change. But here in the, Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete area, people were getting assessed and they were getting these bills of, 40, 50, 60, $70,000. Still a ton of money. It's like, you got to pay this now. And to the point where they wouldn't let them sell. Well, it's not that they wouldn't let them sell. It's just you can't sell the property and get a bank to get a mortgage to somebody on this condo when they're looking at that, like, well, what's this assessment thing? And they look at it like, well, this can happen again. What if this happens again? They're not going to want to back that loan. So unless you're talking to somebody who's going to buy into this thing for cash, then you're going to have a problem, getting through, getting the bank to give you the money on one of these loans. So what did that do to the condo market? The condo market in California, the condo market here in Florida has begun to correct. That's happened already. It's been that way already. A lot of folks are like, stay away from the condos. So that's what she's talking about. These assessments are just breaking people. Now, this wasn't, this was kind of like no one really saw this coming. I mean, it is what it is. And that money, like, we got to have this money now, right now. So, I mean, it is what it is. We got Sister On the Spot live out of Chicago, which y'all should do if you in the Florida area. Wherever you at in Florida, sell your house for a loss or get whatever you can for it, then move to Illinois and holler at Sister On the Spot live. What's good, sis? Yeah, holler at her and she'll put you into something really nice. She had a show, I don't know, it was about a month ago now, where she was showing you how you can get into the Illinois area, the greater Chicago area for like $100,000 on some really nice properties. And you ain't got to worry about hurricanes up there. Brother Dino, yeah, I think it was a lot to do with just poor management, poor maintenance on these buildings. It's saltwater erosion of the foundations. That sounds about right. I didn't really delve into the story too much. I know there were cracks, there were visible cracks like in their garage for like the the weight bearing pillars and stuff like that. Because of course, all this came out afterwards. So yeah, man, obviously they just didn't take care of what they needed to take care of down there. So yeah, it's some deals in Chicago, y'all. It's some deals in Chicago. Remember that. But no, so that assessment hit and that really hurt the condo market. The housing market was still pretty good, but now that people are starting to leave right now, now we're talking about these storms. These storms come through, but these storms have been vicious. And the last couple storms, like Helene coming up the Gulf, it was like 90 miles off the coast and it hit north. It hit Florida north, well north of us. But the outer bands did so much damage with flooding and stuff like that in the high winds and whatnot. And then 2 weeks later, here comes Milton, and it's a dead-on hit from the Gulf. People, hurricanes don't normally come from the Gulf and hit Florida going eastbound. It's the other way around. They'll come from the Atlantic, they'll hit like the East Coast and then continue westbound. And that makes a big difference in the potency of the storm. Tampa is not prepared for this sort of thing. This was a Cat 3 storm. Milton came and just ripped this place apart. Had it been a Cat 4, which it was prior to making landfall, and even like a day or so before that, it was a Cat 5 storm. The only thing that really saved Tampa is the water had begun to cool off. If the water was still warm, we had record level water temperatures around Tampa and the Gulf Bay and stuff like that. If the water was still warm, that storm may have hit as a Cat 4 or Cat 5. If that had happened, guys, I wouldn't be here right now because my place wouldn't be here. I would be somewhere else, broadcasting somewhere else with brand new equipment because it would have knocked these walls down, no problem. Cat 4, Cat 5 storm hits Tampa from the Bay. It's a wrap and it's coming. Now everyone's starting to realize this. And they're like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to come down here to Tampa, to Florida in general. It's time to get out. Let's cash out and go. And then you have a lot of people, a lot of investors were down here. There's a lot of Wall Street money down here, and people were just kind of like doing good, making their bread. Now they're like, hey, man, let's cut our losses and get out of here. So now you got inventory, which is flooding the market. There are people trying to sell their properties, and the property is just sitting there. No one wants to even consider it. It's crazy. Let's continue.
Up on the screen, this first element here from the Wall Street Journal. They say the Great Florida Migration is coming undone. A surplus of housing inventory and dwindling buyer interest are slowing sales. Hurricanes and extreme weather are making it worse. They profile at the beginning this man, Anthony Holmes, who was part of that Florida migration. He moved from Virginia to a gated suburban community in Tampa. Now that he's had to leave, he's a victim of a glutted housing market where buyers are increasingly hard to find. He paid $550,000 for his 5-bedroom home, spent another $50,000 on solar panels and interior improvements, but now he's having to move back to Virginia for work. He thought he'd be able to sell his house right away. He listed it in February. He has had no luck. He's dropped the price 5 different times. He's just trying to break even. And he says, quote, I can't unload the thing. In 8 months, I've had 0 offers.
Jeez.
No one.
Did y'all hear that? This man has a nice home in a good neighborhood, gated here in Tampa. 8 months. He's been trying to sell this thing. He's got like zero interest in his house. Like Sister I Am, this is why I was telling you, like, hey, if you get a minute, look at the Florida, look at the Tampa market, look at the Central Florida market. Like Miami is not going to hit as hard as it hits here. So when you look at Central Florida, this is like where the regular folks are. This market is, I think it's in the early stages of a correction. Now, I'm not saying it's going to collapse and all that kind of stuff, but no one wants to be here as far as the investment. People are starting to look at it like it's a bad investment. So there's going to be problems. This guy, first of all, is he can't move his house, but the bigger problem is he was told to come back to his original state for work. So remember when the pandemic hit and all that kind of stuff, and everybody was like, work from home, and everyone loves working from home. It's like, people are like, this is it. It's work from home now. No one's ever going back into the office. I go back and forth with my people on this all the time. We go back and forth like, man, I'm telling you, for whatever reason, the bosses, the 1% want people to come back into the office at least 3 times a week. At least some are saying, like they say at least 3, but they want they want you back in there for the 5 days for whatever reason. This is, if the guy didn't have to go back to work in Maryland, wherever he's from, he probably would just deal with it. But he's like, well, let me just go ahead and sell this and go back to work. And he can't sell a house. He's like, I'm just trying to break even. He's going to lose money, guys. He's going to lose money. The only way he's going to be able to get people to move into his place, which he moved in, he upgraded it, solar, probably redid the windows, floors, probably updated the bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. Because remember, money was cheap back then. He's like, all right, I got this bread. I'm down here in Florida, and it's for him. He's probably thinking this is cheap, depending on what part of Maryland. Houses in Maryland, man, that's not a cheap part of the country. It's not New York, it's not LA, but boy, they're up there, depending on where you at. So he's down here thinking like, man, this is a deal. This is great. I'm gonna go down here. There's no way I can lose. If you're like, worst case scenario, I'll come down here and I sell it for what I bought it for, whatever. I'm not gonna lose. That's what he's thinking. Right? That's the mentality. Up and up and up and up and up and up and up, right? That's the mentality. But guess what, guys? Sometimes there's a correction. Doesn't mean it's not going to get back up there, which I don't know. People don't make a lot of money down here in Florida. It's a lot of retirees down here in Florida. There's not a lot of industry down here in Florida. Why? Because we get the storms, because it's sticky, right? It's real humid out here. It's a bunch of stuff. This is a tourist destination. There's great beaches, St. Pete, Clearwater. There's great beaches over in Orlando. It's just a cool place to live, good place to raise your kids. But, right, I can see people not wanting to be here. We got big bugs, man. You got alligators walking around, bro. It's like living in the zoo. I ain't lying to you. I done seen some creatures, bro. They got like panthers out here, bro. Like I done seen some creatures. But let's get back to it.
Even showed up to the open houses. Nobody. So they said another sign that we should all pay attention to here, that the housing market is approaching a potential inflection point, is that institutional investors are starting to sell and pull back. Many are eager to cash in on the huge increase in prices that many of these homes have seen since 2010 and are now pruning their Florida housing exposure. Just to give you a few more numbers, and I'll get your reaction to all of this, Sagar. They say Tampa, Orlando, and much of the Space Coast are also experiencing this Florida housing reversal. Inventory for single-family homes and condos in these areas was up more than 50% in August versus the last year. At the same time, demand has decreased 10% or more in these areas. About half of the homes listed for sale in Tampa, which is where the individual I was talking about was struggling to sell his home, about half of them have experienced price reductions as of September 9th. That's the third highest share of all U.S. major metro areas. So it does seem like something is going on here.
Absolutely. Can we put the next one, please, up on the screen? Because this is probably one of the most important parts, is about all of these properties that are for sale just skyrocketed. The guy was speculating, what are the odds these are Airbnbs with owners who are about to declare bankruptcy? But what you actually see inside all the data is it's a flat housing market from March 2023 onward. 2 huge hurricanes that have now come through in the last year, skyrocketing insurance of 400%. And then on top of that, you have there's not a lot of faith.
Did y'all hear that? He said skyrocketing insurance up 400%. Remember what Ken McElroy said when we were breaking down his episode yesterday. Same thing. It's like 500% increase over the past, 5 years or something like that. I'm trying to find those numbers exactly, guys, because I don't have that. So we're just going to take their word on it for now. But a huge increase in insurance premiums, which of course has to be paid by the homeowner. or the business. Huge. This is insane. Right. And people keep thinking it's going to go up and up and up and up and up. No, it's only so much money, and of the people with the money, there's only so many of them that want to live down here in Central Florida. Simple as that. If you got big money like that, that Miami life is cool. And you can go from Dade to Broward County. Like I ain't gonna lie to you, right? If I were single, if I weren't a single dad, bro, I would be in Dade County. I would be either in Miami or Fort Lauderdale. I'm not even exaggerating. It's nice down there. It's just as nice down there as it is here. It's just, I think that the Tampa area is a better place to raise a kid than Miami. That's the only difference. The reason I'm here. You go down there, you get yourself a nice condo, you get the pretty views, right? You're in an area where you can just walk around, do everything you want. Like Brickell is amazing. You just walk around, do whatever you want. You got the feel of a big city, but it's really a small town, right? And if you don't want that life, you got the beach life over there. If you don't want the beach life, you can move inland a little bit. You can move up to Broward County. So now you're over there in Miramar, you're in Pembroke Pines, that kind of thing, right? You can be in Kendall, which is a little bit south in Miami, or if you want to, you could be up in Hialeah. But it's places inland that's a little more family oriented. It's not like the big city life, but it's still beautiful. And you can just drive right over to the beach and do whatever you want to do. You can go out boating, go fishing, go whatever you want to do. Whatever. It's great. If I weren't a single dad, I'd be in Miami right now. Just telling you right now. I wouldn't be worried about these prices. I would just go ahead and just buy it because it's like, all right, I got the condo, whatever. It is what it is. I'll take my chance. But up here in Central Florida, there's people up here who own their homes and they can't afford to insure it. Like they were talking about that yesterday, right? Going bare. It's like, oh, we're just going to risk it. They're rolling the dice. And now it's a problem because these prices are going to fall. When I moved here 4 years ago, you see a house listed, that it would be under contract in a matter of days. We're talking like, 48, 72 hours, that thing is off the market. They're getting offers, 50, 60, 70, $100,000 over the ask. Man, that shit's over. That shit is over. Brother Dino, man, I don't know, man, living in London, bro. London's always been expensive, man. But I like the city. But oh my God, it's always been expensive over there. But let's continue.
Inside of the actual state, that the current kludge of insurance system that's been put together after a lot of the insurance companies pulled out will even hold up. And this was the most interesting part to me. Let's put the next one, please, on the screen. What we saw is that the insurer of last resort is actually already in trouble, and that Milton may be a big part of it. It's called the Citizens Property Insurance Group. It's a state nonprofit home insurance that was set up as the last resort. 1.3 million policies are in force in the last month, 3 times as many compared to 5 years ago. It's the largest provider in the entire state. The problem is that the governor already warned that Citizens was not solvent and that, quote, it can't function with millions of people on that because if a storm hits, it's going to cause problems for the state. Quote, thankfully, they've avoided the worst case scenario for Milton, but that doesn't change that Citizens is one catastrophic storm away from complete and total insolvency, which means what? That they're either going to get bailed out by the federal government or those insurance premiums are about to go from 400% 5 years ago to like 1,000%.
Yeah.
Listen, do you guys remember a couple years ago when I was talking about this and I'm like, they're going to need a bailout, right? Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, said 2 years ago that Citizens Insurance, which is the insurance of last resort here in Florida, which was getting more and more carriers because, like Brother Donnie is saying, shout out to you, bro. Big insurance companies are pulling out. Ken McElroy was saying the same thing on this show yesterday, guys. You see what we're doing here. This is why I wanted to break this up. This is a serious issue. The governor of the state, Ron DeSantis, said 2 years ago, and I mentioned it on this platform, that the Citizens Insurance was just about insolvent. That was right after Ian. It was right after Ian. And I want to say 4 to 6 months after Ian, there was like this tropical depression that hit Miami, and it was like serious flooding all over Miami. Like Broward County got affected. It shut down Fort Lauderdale Airport for a little bit. Miami Airport got shut down for a little bit too. It was like flash flooding from like Broward all the way down to Dade County. That wasn't big enough, but it was like, I talked about it. And I was like, hey, that was pretty big. It shut down the city. What's going to happen when the next hurricane hit? Bro, I'm here to tell you, I think they're already insolvent. I think they're already out of money. And what I think that the governor and his team are right now trying to figure out what they are going to do, because they're only going to be able to hide this for so long. Right? 2 years ago, 50,000 people who have policies are still trying to get paid out on their policies for their home 2 years ago. And wait till you guys see what they're doing. Brother Donnie, man, that's what's up, bro. Like, he's in the business. And thank you. Like, because again, this is outside of my wheelhouse. I'm just putting this together from what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, and who I'm talking to. It's not sustainable, bro. If you got a house that you bought in 2012 and you bought that house for $175,000, now here it is, 2024, and that house is now worth $600,000. Like, bro, your income has not kept pace with the cost of your home. And a lot of people thinking like, hey, we doing big. Hey, you can't afford to fix it. You can't afford it. So, and Brother Donnie's breaking it down, man. Like, dude, he's an underwriter supervisor. And he's like, listen to what he's talking about right there. He's giving us free game. He's giving us free game right here, man. The big boys in the insurance companies, they're pulling out. Why? It's too much exposure. They can afford, like Geico and State Farm and all those guys, they can afford to cover these losses, but they don't want to. Remember, Ken McElroy was talking about it. He's like, look, if they get hit with losses in Florida like that, in Texas like that, in California like that, right? Well, they're going to raise premiums on people in Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Georgia, right? They're going to find a way to get the money back. But this is such a huge loss. They saw this coming 5, 6, 7 years ago, 10 years ago. They saw this coming. They, man, pull out. Why? Because it's a business, and they are not in business to lose money. Right? Brother Donnie's giving it 100. Like, man, man, wait till you see what these smaller companies, all they can do is entice smaller companies and like startups to come in and try to do something. We're gonna see how that plays out. You guys are gonna see it right here, how it plays out. It is crazy what they're doing right now. They're not breaking the law, right? They're not breaking the law, but boy, oh boy, it's close. And the only reason they're not breaking the law is because the law hasn't been changed or modified to take care of, this thing that they're doing. And you guys are going to see that next in a second. But the insurance game down here in Florida, I'm telling you, I think that's what was pumping up the housing market. Now you combine that with people not making as much money as they were. People are getting laid off. That's another thing too, guys. The numbers are be coming out because we're in this election cycle and all that. The numbers coming out talking about unemployment is up, and unemployment is down. More Americans are working than ever before. Blah blah. All lies. I've been telling you guys about that. They do downward revisions all the time. Wait till the next revisions come out. You just wait till the next revisions come out. You look at the pressures being placed on the Federal Reserve, right? So that they want them to lower interest rates. You got all this stuff going on, right? People who are working aren't getting the raises. Right, dude, this is, call it the perfect storm, call it a black swan, call it whatever you want to call it. As soon as this election is over, bro, all this is going to come out, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
5 years ago. So you can't even imagine what that would do, especially in a high interest rate environment. Think about what your mortgage payment is going to look like from interest and insurance. It honestly could go way over principal.
Yeah.
If you start to think about what the cost of living there would be.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's absolutely true. No, I mean, if you think about 400% increase in those costs over just a few years, that's mind blowing.
Right.
And so what's happened is a bunch of the local private insurers just cancel policy. We're not doing this anymore. They're out.
Yeah.
And so people were forced to, into this property owners insurance of last resort, which is, federal and state backed Citizens Property Insurance Corporation. And you have politicians here in DC raising alarms that they're on the brink of insolvency if they get hit with another catastrophic event. They're already probably going to have to pay out billions of dollars in claims after these two storms. And so while this outfit has a mechanism in order to be able to make sure it remains solvent, that mechanism is basically just jacking up the prices like crazy, not only on homes, but also on, other forms of like cars and boats and whatever. Yes. And how politically feasible is that really going to be for whoever is governor, whether it's Ron DeSantis or whoever's governor of the state at the time. And so Sheldon Whitehouse was saying, should claims exceed the insurer's ability to pay, Citizens does have a mechanism to pass those losses on to Florida families who are already paying sky-high premiums. Recouping billions of dollars in losses from Floridians is unlikely to be feasible economically or politically, let alone in time to pay massive claims. Hence the Budget Committee concern about possible requests for a federal bailout. So whether or not you live in Florida, very possible this could be a question that the whole country is faced with here shortly. But, you know, it's an irony that the very things that, some of the things that make Florida so incredibly appealing, obviously, is the great weather, but all of this beachfront property may be, you know, the thing that is also causing a lot of people to be reluctant to relocate there, because you're facing these storms, you're facing this property insurance, you know, skyrocketing property insurance, impossibility in certain instances of even getting property insurance. And so you are already starting to see a reversal of some of those trends.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you know, I'm not in that field. I'm not an insurance guy. I'm not a hyper political guy. I'm a retired air traffic controller, right? I'm a dude from the hood who managed to do good, right? And I saw this thing coming a couple years ago now. It caught my attention after Hurricane Ian. It caught my attention. I'm, well, how the hell are they going to be able to, if a big storm comes through here, how are they going to be able to pay out, right? And here we are. And she's saying people in DC have been talking about this. So this has been a thing in America for at least 2 years. We can sit here and say, yeah, you know what? Over the past 2 years, people are trying to figure this out. Like the serious thinkers, like the political bigwigs, the 1%ers, the business guys, they're looking at, and girls, they're looking at this as like, bro, Florida is a ticking time bomb. We need to start getting our assets, you know, like liquidating our assets in Florida and getting out of here before the music stops. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, the music just stopped. It's time for everybody to sit down, and guess what? It ain't but one cheer, and it's like 1,000 people standing up. Now the question is, who's going to take the loss? They call it a haircut. Who's going to take the haircut? Who's going to do it? So you're looking at this election, right? And the timing, God, it's kind of crazy, because listen to these press conferences and listen to what these reporters are going to start asking, you know, Harris and Trump. Hey, this is a big problem in Florida. Those two storms and like 2 storms in 2 weeks. There's a lot of people messed up down there. Are you guys going to be considering some sort of bailout, some sort of package to help the citizens of Florida? Right? Neither person as president can do that. We just don't have the money, guys. And if you bail Florida out, are you prepared to bail Florida out every year, every other year, because these storms are getting more intense? How are you going to fix this? And who benefits from the bailout? And final thing is, are you going to bail out Texas? Are you going to bail out Georgia? Are we going to bail out Asheville, North Carolina? Are we going to bail out, you know, Ventura County in California? Are we going to bail out Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio when those nasty F5 hurricanes come through, F6 hurricanes come through? Are we going to bail them out? You see where I'm going with this. Bailout is not going to be a thing. This is going to be a Florida problem. All these people came down here. All the big money came down here to Florida, and it raised the housing market like crazy. Okay, cool. But Florida has never been one of those states where people were coming down here making big money. Florida is still the South. They're making money the same. They're making the kind of money people are making in Georgia, parts of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, right? The average person down here is making that kind of bread. I'm just letting you know. As a retired dude, my income is well over the regular folks that I mean, and there's like two, 3 of them in the house working. And I'm making more, my retirement, my pension is more than what they're earning working 2-3 jobs each. Y'all gotta understand. Yeah, a lot of money came down here, but the people who came down here, they didn't bring their corporations down here. They're still working, making, you know, $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year working remote. Just like that guy is like, hey, I got to go back to Maryland. I want to sell my house, trying to just break even here. He's going to lose money. He's going to lose money. And guess what? He's going to take the L. He'll take the haircut, but he's still making the money wherever he's going. These retirees down here, these people on these fixed incomes, these fixed budgets, man, they in trouble. they toast. They toast. Appreciate you, brother Donnie. I appreciate you, man. I'm trying. But they toast. This is a serious problem. You're going to need serious-minded individuals to come up with a solution. And the solution is someone's going to have to eat it. You heard. Somebody going to have to take the haircut, right? And I'm here to tell you, the wealthy people, the 1%, yeah, sometimes they take a little haircut. But the former middle class people, the people who don't have it, because you guys know, I say it all the time, ain't no more middle class anymore. Either you got it or you don't. So when you're talking about a haircut, that's for the people who got it. But for the people who don't, you getting scalped. They're going to put that blade right here. They're going to grab your hair and they're just going to pull it on off. You getting scalped. They're going to hold it up and scream. They're going to show you their war face, bro. You getting scalped. It ain't going to be a haircut.
Watch for
Look,
sure.
there's a lot of stuff going on. The point is that if you really look at a lot of the demographics, like we're watching Florida now go red. I'm watching with great interest how North Carolina is going to go and what the margins of that will look like. Disproportionately a lot wider than the more economically dynamic swing, the Sun Belt states. I really am also watching Nevada. Nevada's had a ton of economic development in the last couple of years. They've also had big changes in terms of like their political outlook and who they may vote for. So America's changing a lot. America is changing a lot. I think it's part of the most exciting things about covering this stuff. And, you know, a lot of the bull case for Florida is now becoming a little bit of a bear case. So you should definitely think about that when you are making decisions. Hey, if you
shout out to them. Shout out to Breaking Points. Shout out to Breaking Points. And they didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but they will be revisiting this. I'm telling you, this is going to be one of the major stories in America moving forward. I'm telling you, bro, going all the way into Q1 and Q2 of next year. This is going to be they're going to point to Florida and they're going to be, you know, telling the Fed, like, y'all need to cut rates. Jerome Powell is going to get even more pressure to cut rates. I'm telling you. And it's, even if they cut rates, here's the thing. A lot of people are going to lose everything. There's going to be a lot of folks who lose a lot. They're all in where they are right now. And what's hurting them, I mean, they could, you know, it's like, oh, they had the money. They were making it. This was a good decision on the house. They did not anticipate the insurance increasing 40, 50, 60%, you know what I mean, year over year or in 24 months or something like that. Certainly, you know, they didn't go back and do the real research and look and see like, oh, man, look at this. Insurance premiums are up over 200% going over the past 3-4 years. They didn't do that. The average person ain't doing all that, man. I mean, it is what it is. But now they're stuck in this like, oh, shit, what do I do? What do I do? So that's just to give you an idea like of what's going on. Big picture. Big picture, insurance is a problem. Oh, my goodness. What's going on? You see the storm coming, right? It's like, hey, what are we going to do here? Now, let's talk about what's going on, how the insurance companies are handling this. Remember, we're not talking about the big insurance companies, right? The big billion-dollar, you know, well-funded, well-run insurance company. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the people they were able to entice back. These fly-by-night networks like the Slide Insurance that they were talking about, Ken McElroy, and they were talking about. The name alone should scare you. Like, who the hell is Slide Insurance? And people have been forced to go into these companies, right? Do y'all think that Slide Insurance is able to cover these homes from these two storms? Come on, y'all. They just hit the scene. The guy who's behind it, the guy who put it all together was with Enron. Wait, that should let you know where his head's at, right? So Slide Insurance. So we're going to look at this 60 minutes thing. 60 minutes. So I've skipped ahead on this 60-minute thing, but basically what I want you guys to understand is the reason I skipped ahead is what they're doing is they're showing you the homeowners and showing you what type of people they are. It's like an older couple. They don't raise their kids. They've been in this house forever. They've always paid their premiums on time. They're good people. One guy's like some sort of attorney and, you know, like some obscure law or whatever, but a storm hits their house, devastates their house. And this is where we're going to pick up the story with 60 Minutes, because they're going to talk about when the appraiser comes in and what happened with the company, with their insurance company, right? So we're going to get into that. Based Oracle's in the building. What's good, fam? Poor getting poor, rich getting rich. You best believe that, bro. You best believe that. They're going to be talking about haircuts. It's not, no. Poor people are going to get scalped. They're going to get scalped, bro. And they're going to be left right there with a chunk of their, you know, scalp ripped off. It is what it is. Brother Donnie is he's like, what's sad is they moved to red states to want it to turn blue and be back in the same situation they were in the previously. Shaking my damn head. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Say what you want. I was just talking to my man Jay Swans. Shout out to Jay Swans. Y'all know y'all better hit the button just in case he's out there ninja watching. I just got off the phone with him before I did this. But I was talking to Jay Swans about this, and I was like, hey, man, California, they're part of this too. There's going to be problems. But he was like, yeah, it's like the difference between California and Florida is California is for the homeowner. Yeah, it's a lot of red tape. Yeah, it's all this, but they regulate the hell out of that market. And he was like, Florida, it's like the Wild West. They don't necessarily regulate it, and then they don't force the companies to follow through. And I was like, hey, bro, you're definitely on to something there. You're definitely on to something. And you're right, Brother Michael's in the building. What's good, fam? Yeah, super predictable, bro. Super predictable. And another, a lot of times when you sit down, this is why I say you need serious people in government. You need serious people to help deal with these problems, because here's the thing. These storms are more intense and they seem to be more frequent. And it's not just in Florida, it's the Gulf Coast. It's in the Midwest with the tornadoes, and those fires in California are getting worse every season, right? So then right away you're talking to someone, they're like, well, you just want to talk about global warming and blah, blah, blah. No, I don't want to talk about global warming. I want to talk about the damage that this storm did. I want to talk about the damage the previous storm did. And I want to talk about how much these homes are going for. Hey, bro, this ain't going to work. I could care less about global warming. I'm just telling you, this last storm was a doozy. Right? Let's go look at it. When Milton hit landfall, right? 30 minutes before it hit landfall, them outer bands, man, it's all these tornadoes hit. And normally, and again, I know a little bit about weather because of what I used to do, but when you're dealing with hurricanes, and then yes, there's always tornadoes within these hurricanes. You get all this movement, you got this spinning, it is what it is. But generally speaking, you would have a hurricane, the outer bands have these tornadoes that form, they touch ground, and then they dissipate like really quick. Like kind of like, okay, it was a tornado. Like, yeah, that was a tornado. Let's mark it down as a tornado, but it didn't really do nothing. Like it hit and then it went away. That's not what happened with Milton. Florida had a record number of tornadoes that hit the state. It broke records. And the tornadoes that hit, we're talking like F2, F3. That's Midwest grade. That's real tornado. Like you can't go to the basement. This is Florida. If you try to go in the basement, you're underwater. Like Florida's sinking. Y'all know that, right? So that's what they're looking at. Like that's a real, you don't take my word for it. Google it, pull it up. You want to see those tornadoes? There was one in Alligator Alley. Bro, if you could have told me you were in Kansas City, that thing was nasty looking. I'm like, oh shit, that's a real tornado. And they got videos of like 2 or 3 of them. There was one down, I want to say it was in Broward County, like in northern part of Fort Lauderdale. There was one in Palm Beach, right? And there were the ones out here hitting the West Coast, the East Coast, here in Florida, Orlando, and all that kind of stuff. Bro, nasty business. So that's something that wasn't going on before. That's not normal. That's not what's been happening. And then people like, oh, we're going to talk about global warming. Bro, all I'm talking about is the damage that this damn storm did. And how are we going to move forward? So I hate it when people get their politics involved with the shit, man. It's like, look, y'all, let's just fix the issue, bro. Let's help these people, bro. And if we're not going to be serious about it, let's at least tell these people to leave. Right. But now y'all want to tell the businesses, you want to help the businesses out first, and then turn your gaze to the folks who can't afford to deal with this. It is what it is. Let me get off my soapbox. Let me pull up. Let's pull up the 60 Minutes thing. Give me a second. Yeah, Florida insurance carriers. Here it is. Here we go. So remember what I said, bro. Like this, we're picking up this episode. They've already introduced the lovely couple who are suffering in this situation. Again, people who work hard. The guy's professional. He's an attorney. They're older. They've already raised their kids. They got this home. They've been paying on this home forever. They've been paying their insurance premiums and everything, right? So we're going to pick up from their neighbors just happened to be filming during the storm. And this was Hurricane Helene, if I'm not mistaken. So again, this wasn't that long ago. This was just a few weeks ago. So it's just Hurricane Helene, and the neighbors just happened to be filming, and you can see the damage that's being done to this particular home. I'm going to continue to show all of the chats, guys. Look at Mandrell. Yeah, it seems that way, bro. It seems like these insurance companies, I mean, it's just like a license to steal money. Think about that, though. Let's just talk about auto insurance, right? Think of all the money we spend on auto insurance. Where have you been? However long you've been driving, right? How often have you really crashed? And then of your crash, how many times have you totaled something? Like, I look at my premiums, I'm like, damn, bro, I'm paying a lot. My daughter isn't even old enough to drive yet. She doesn't have a license yet. I mean, she's about to be, right? I mean, real close, but it's like, dude, I'm already paying a ton of money. And here's the thing: how often, like, bro, I've had one accident where my vehicle was totaled, and the accident wasn't my fault. Right? That one. I'm in my 50s. One serious accident. Everything else has been like what you would call a fender bender or something like that, right? One serious accident. And it's like, where's all that money going? Brother Mandrell's onto something, man. It's a license to steal money. A license to steal money. Yeah, you're right, Brother Michael. Yeah, it does make that cash only side of the market. That's what happened down here. People came with California money, New York money, whatever. It was cash only. You're right. You're right. And it flips us over just that fast. Just that fast. And then add to that, you had all that Wall Street money just buying up single family homes, trying to rent those out because it was a good play. I mean, it was, and the cost of buying homes went up and the cost of renting went up. So it was a good play. But now the big money can afford to just cut and run. They don't care. And Brother Donnie, I need to listen to what Brother Donnie's talking about. He's like, when you're looking for an insurance company, always try to insure with a standard carrier with high AM best rating. So that will be important when it comes to claim payouts. Thank me later. We'll thank you now, bro. Appreciate that, man. That's a Don DeMarco right there. Y'all getting the free sauce, y'all. Free sauce. Don DeMarco. This man is in the industry, man. He's giving it to you right there, bro. Look for that high AM. I'm not sure what it was, but I guess that's some sort of rating that comes through like probably that industry, whatever it is. You want that high and get that, man. The standard and high AM best rating, guys. Make sure you guys get that. Don't be going to these fly-by-night companies. And the thing is, in Florida, those people who were forced on to citizens are being forced to go with these fly-by-night companies, right? You don't even get to, you're just there. Like, okay, you're on it, right? And they're going to talk about this in what we're about to watch in this clip right here. Shout out to 60 Minutes, y'all. Let's check this out.
That is the Rapkins' house. A neighbor just happened to be filming when their steel roof was ripped off. When the storm finally passed, the Rapkins could see clear skies through the new hole Hurricane Ian punched in their ceiling. There were trees on and around their house. The roof was shredded, and everything inside was soaked. The Rapkins lined up their losses on the curb and called their insurance company, Heritage, to begin the claims process. It sent a licensed adjuster to the house to assess the damage. Did you get the feel?
Yo, did y'all see all the damage to that house? There's video. There's video of the roof being ripped off by the wind. They're with this company. That's the couple right there. Because I'm not sure if I would get in trouble if they were like, stop the stream because I'm playing this. It says 60 minutes. I don't know. But I want to jump ahead to the adjuster. We're gonna jump ahead to the claims adjuster right here, y'all. Check this out. This will blow your mind. Let me do this. Yeah, we're gonna jump ahead to the claims adjuster. This will blow your mind. Yeah, you're right about that Chris Rock thing. Like, just in case shit, but you need it. You need insurance, but it just gets to the point where the houses cost too much, bro, and people aren't making enough. Brother Donnie's like, AM Best uses both qualitative and quantitative measures to assess an insurance company's ability to pay claims and meet its financial obligations. There it is. AM Best, guys. That's what you guys want. You want to make sure you check that AM Best when you're looking for your insurance company. And here's the thing: the best insurance companies are going to charge you the most, guys. It is what it is. You get what you pay for, right? Keep that in mind. You get what you pay for. And if you do go with some lesser known company, make sure you go through that policy, even if it means you got to hire an attorney to go through that policy with you, so you can find the loopholes and make sure that this is going to be something that's going to work for you and your family. Bro, I hate to say it like that, but a lot of people think that, oh, everyone's on the up and up now. No, man. No, today, no. It's like you doing a deal in the streets, bro. You got to check everything, check it 3 times, right? Get in there and find out what is stated in your policy. Make sure you understand all the words. Make sure you understand exactly what it means, right? If you can't get the AM Best and you working with someone else, make sure you understand your policy, all of it. Get a pro, get a lawyer. It'll be worth it. If it costs you an extra $500, trust me, it'll be worth it, right? Because when you're gonna need the money from the insurance, it's gonna be way more than $500, bro. You're gonna be needing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if they don't pay it, and they're gonna point to the policy and say, "Hey, man, you agreed to this, you signed it," who are you gonna be mad at? It's a cutthroat game out there, bro. Ain't no friends out there, bro. Like I said, it's more honor in the streets, man. At least we knew what we were up against. But this stuff right here, oh my God.
Angry.
We found Mr. Jordan Lee very much alive.
Do you remember the Rapkin family?
Yes, ma'am.
Lee is the adjuster who went to the Rapkins' home after the storm.
What do you remember about them?
Their property, a 2-story home, metal roof that was blown off by Hurricane Ian. And the interior of the home was it was soaked.
Jordan.
So I stand corrected. It was Hurricane Ian. This was 2 years ago. And these are the people that Ken McElroy was talking about. These are, probably 2 of the 50,000 people who are out there trying to get their insurance companies to pay what they're supposed to pay. So this was Hurricane Ian, guys. I think I mentioned that maybe it was Helene. I was wrong. This is Hurricane Ian. So let's get back to it.
Lee has been a licensed adjuster in Florida since 2017. After major disasters, most insurance companies use third-party firms who hire adjusters like Lee to help them with the thousands of claims. Lee says after he assesses a home, he always leaves his cell phone number with the homeowners so they can call him if they have any questions. After Hurricane Ian, homeowners did.
What were they saying?
Cussing me out left and right, up and down. How could you do this to us? It was really bad, actually. And out of the thousands of claims that I've handled, I've never had phone calls like that.
Confused, he went back to compare the damage report he wrote for the Rapkins to the one the insurance company sent to them.
That's your work.
Y'all see that? Did y'all see that part right there? We had that big old pile of papers right there, that big report. And then there's this little video report on the other hand, right? Y'all see where this is going? Brother Donnie's telling you where it is. Look, that's their word. They're like, yeah, y'all pass this video around. Of course they pass this video around. And they was like, ooh, this is dirty work. This is dirty work, but is it illegal? Man, I don't know. Right. And he's like, this was definitely handled by a non-standard carrier as they use third-party adjusters to assess their loans. That's a good point right there. That makes sense because they're trying to save money. I would imagine that the big carriers will have their own adjusters and everything is handled in-house. But now you got these smaller carriers and they're like trying to figure out how to save money. So it's like, oh, we'll just pay these guys when we need them and this and that. Watch how this insurance company did these people, guys. Watch how this insurance company did them.
Work.
Correct.
And this is what they were given.
Totally different. Totally different.
You said they needed a new roof.
I did.
And this report says what?
It reads as a repair.
Was that roof able to be repaired in your opinion?
Not in my opinion, no.
Later, Jordan Lee learned a desk adjuster who'd never been to the Rapkins' home had deleted entire sections of his report, but left his name and his license number on it, making it look like his work.
Did anybody ever alert you, hey, we're making a change to this report?
No, nobody told me. The only way that I knew was the homeowner calling me.
It is standard procedure for field adjusters to collaborate with those back in the office to make minor edits. But Jordan Lee says that is not what happened with the Rapkins report.
Did you put a dollar amount on how much you thought they were owed?
$231,368.57.
What did the insurance carrier come up with?
$15,469.48.
Did y'all hear that, bro? $230-some thousand down to 16,000. That's dirty work. That's go get the strap kind of thing. Like, bro, yeah, what? And the way they did it, desk adjuster, the hell is that? Is that just somebody who's sitting at the desk and is like, nah, we ain't paying for that. Nah, we ain't paying for that. Nah. What the hell is that? Y'all sent the man in there. Y'all sent the licensed adjuster. You sent the guy. That's his job. That's what he does. Y'all sent him in there, but y'all didn't like what he came back with. So y'all just gonna go ahead and just pull the old pen out and start striking. Let's red pen that, red ink, and leave his name on there. That's important. Y'all remember that part. They left his name on there. That's dirty work. Right. You can't exactly what roof you gonna replace for 15 grand. And brother Donnie, here's the thing though. They're gonna cut them a check for 15,000, but you still gotta take deductibles and stuff like that. That's not how much money they got in their pocket, bro. Let's keep watching.
So quite a bit of difference.
That's not a difference of opinion.
No.
Jordan Lee says as he dug further into his work from Hurricane Ian, he was stunned to discover the Rapkins weren't the only family whose report was altered.
It was basically all of them. I mean, I handled 46 of them. 44 of them were changed.
Were any of your reports changed to give the policy owner more money?
No,
It was always down.
it was always down.
Down by as much as 98%.
Man, y'all see that? Do y'all see that? This is dirty work right here, y'all. This is dirty work. Look at that, man. The original claim, $488,284.64. The adjuster report sent to the homeowner, $13,050.43. Right? They cheated them out of 97.33% of their claim. And it just goes all the way down. Look at that, bro. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Right? Let's continue.
One estimate he wrote for $488,000 was changed to $13,000. Another from $239,000 to $3,000. On December 13th, 2022,
My name is Jordan Lee. I'm an independent insurance adjuster and I work for the insurance companies.
Jordan Lee and two other adjusters testified to Florida lawmakers about what one watchdog group called systematic criminal fraud by the insurance companies.
The scheme was repeated over and over again, not only on my estimates, but on estimates written by other adjusters.
Ben Mandel has been a licensed adjuster since 2017. He did not work for Heritage, but says 18 of the 20 reports he wrote for another carrier after Hurricane Ian were altered. And he says he and other adjusters were instructed by some of their managers to leave damage off reports.
There was a deliberate scheme to do this. And it wasn't just with one carrier doing this. This was 6 carriers that we discovered were doing this in the state of Florida. They all got the memo,
Which was?
we're not going to replace roofs, asphalt shingle roofs. We're not going to replace them.
So how do you fight this? This is where you need government. I don't care if you are dark red or dark blue. The individual average American can't fight a big company for this type of thing. You need government oversight. This is where you need government. It's just the big picking on the small. Remember when we were talking, with Kim McElroy. He had to spend $700,000 and go to the highest court in the state just so he can settle with the insurance company, which meant he didn't even get 100%. I mean, I don't know about you, but are you sitting on $700,000 and you can just go out here and fight with the insurance company? Roll the dice, take a chance, because you could have lost and they wound up settling. But the reason they're doing this is greed is part of it. But at the end of the day, I think it's just survival for the companies, right? The government's involved. This is going back. This is 2 years old now and getting older. This is going all the way back to Hurricane Ian. The government knows what's going on. Trust and believe the governor's office knows what the deal is. His people know. What I think happened, the governor was like, man, get out here. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's fix this, right? Because this is a problem. Okay, right away, boss. They go out there. And then once they walk in and they talk to these companies or whatever, they get stonewalled officially. And then whoever they're talking to is like, hey, let's go over here and get a drink. And then they'll talk to the government person, like, hey, man, we're off the record, right? Yeah, off the record. Okay, listen, here's the deal. We know this is fucked up. We really do. But y'all had us come down into this state. Right now, y'all see why all the big companies wanted to leave. Because you can't insure these people, man. You just can't do it. Now you see why the big companies left. All right, and here's the thing. If we pay everyone out like we're supposed to, we're going to be insolvent. We're going to have to file for bankruptcy. It's done. At least this way, they're getting something. That's what I think is happening. That's that moment, right? That moment when that moment, when you realize, this thing is broken, right? Same thing happened in the housing market, right? In the what was that? The Big Short. Remember the Big Short when they went down to Florida and they was talking to everybody. Remember that scene? They walking around driving around with the realtor, looking at properties, and she's like, "Oh, it's just a gully." And it was the scene when the one guy was in the back room, in the VIP room with the dancer. He's paying. He's like, "Look, I'm still gonna pay you. You just sit down and talk to me for a bit." And then he finds out that this girl has 3 houses and 4 condos. Right? He's like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, all my loans." What loans? I got 3 houses and 2 condos. The moment when you realize like it's broken, it's too late. We can't fix this. What do we do? That's what I think happened. I'm not saying that DeSantis and his people are bad and they're somehow implicated in this or they're out here, doing this. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is they got the information. It's like, holy shit, we are in over our head. We're in over our head. This is broken. There's nothing we can do. What are we going to do? I think that's what happened. This guy was standing in front of a bunch of elected officials, giving this information at least a year or so ago. Like, this is what happens when you're in politics, right? You're the guy, and you go out there, you're working for these people and you get the information and they tell you like, oh man, this is it. Right. And like, again, with the housing market crash, Too Big to Fail was another good movie to watch. If you guys haven't seen it, go check that out. Too Big to Fail. And there was a moment where the guys had to explain to the secretary, the media secretary. I forget the term, y'all, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like she had to go out and explain to the press secretary. She had to go out and explain to America what's going on, and they had to break down to her why the housing market is going under. With the default swaps and all that kind of stuff. Another great scene in that movie. And then the look on her face, she was like, so what do you mean? They're like, the whole thing collapsed. You're like, yeah, all of it, every bank, all over it. It's done. It's done. If we don't do something, that's it. That's the end of the American financial. No, that's the end of the world financial system. You guys got to check that out. I'm going to see if I can find that. I'm going to find that because I know it's on YouTube. I just don't know if I'm allowed to show it, but I'm going to find it. I'm going to link it below. You guys need to look at that. The Big Short and Too Big to Fail. It's the moment when people realize like, and I think that's where they are right now in Florida. I think the big guys are in the point they're like, they see how bad it is. They see that we've already passed the point of no return. Like we're in it now. What do we do?
We're going to repair them.
Mandel says he refused to leave off roofs.
They were asking me to do something that was illegal.
And why was it illegal?
It's illegal because when I go out to make a damage estimate, I have to put what the damage is, not what they want the damage to be. And so if I leave something off that's supposed to be on there, I can be prosecuted for that.
So the company's telling you, leave the roofs off. We're not paying for roofs, but you keep writing these
That's
roofs need
correct.
replaced.
I wrote the way they're supposed to be,
And you get fired.
and I got fired.
Now, Ben Mandel and 5 other whistleblower adjusters are represented by attorney Stephen Bush. Bush worked as a public adjuster for more than a decade.
What the carriers are doing, in some instances, what they've said was if the policyholder needs a new roof, then we're going to make them make us pay. In other words, file a lawsuit. And then
There it is. There's the play right there, guys. There it is. We're going to make you make us hold our end of the couch, hold up our end of the couch, hold up our end of the bargain, pay you out the money you've been paying us 15, 20 years. We're going to make us pay you what we owe. Right? Again, Ken McElroy, $700,000 he spent fighting the insurance company. He got that back though, because they settled. I'm pretty sure that they paid all of his legal expenses, but he still didn't get probably 100% of what he was supposed to get. But okay, they're like, okay, we lost with Ken McElroy and his people, but guess what? There's 100 other people that couldn't afford to take us to court, so we got over on them. That's the play, guys. That's how it goes. We're gonna make us do what's right, which means you got to get a lawyer, which means you got to pay for all these filing fees, right? Which means all we got to do is keep doing these frivolous filings until you run out of money. So, and if you got that kind of money anyway, you probably didn't have the insurance to begin with. You're just like, I just risk it, whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead and fix it myself. The average American, they can't do it.
we'll pay you for your roof.
But unless they do that, they're not getting the roof paid
They're
for?
not getting it. They're not getting it. Most people will not stand up and fight. I cannot tell you how many people come to me and say, hey, what was I going to do? I had to replace my roof.
And do you think the insurance companies know that? They're betting on that most people
Absolutely.
are just going to roll over?
No question they know that. They're playing the odds
Yeah.
and they're winning.
Florida's insurance market has been a risky gamble for years. After a decade,
Yeah, they got me, guys. They got me. They got me. And yeah, they got me. Hang in there. Man. It says I'm live. Let's turn that off. Oh, well. All right. Looks like we're back. Looks like we're back. Y'all still with me? Once in the chat, if you can see me, if you're still with me, let me drop that and make sure I don't let me go ahead and not go back to that. Hey, it is what it is, man. But y'all get the gist. So remember that part where they were saying that they're gonna send a percentage or whatever. It was like they were like, oh, they got $15,000 to do the roof, but they had to take their deductible out of that, and they had to also make some other payments out of that. So they actually wound up getting like $4,000 or $5,000. No, I think it was $5,000 in their pocket, maybe five, maybe $7,000, something like that, after all the expenses. So they really didn't get an opportunity to fix their stuff. And the story ends with them. They're still paying the mortgage on their home. They're still keeping the home up, but the inside the house is like severe mold. There's still a roof has the hole in the house, in the top of the house. And you got to understand, since then there's been 2 more major hurricanes. So who knows how bad the damage and the flooding was with Helene, and then again with Milton. Those poor people, they're done. There's not anything that could be done for them. The house is already in question. You think their insurance company is going to pay for any further damage done to the home? And here's the thing: they're still with the same insurance company. They're still paying those premiums. So, like, it is, and it is what it is. So, and normally when you're streaming and you're like we're breaking down something, we're watching a video, when YouTube stops the stream like that for the violations or whatever, that's just a warning shot. They're just letting you know that's a warning shot. So what I did was I went and I didn't, this video is no longer monetized. I went and I personally demonetized this video on my own, right? So they don't have to do it to me. And of course we're not gonna watch the rest of that 60-minute video, but you guys need to watch it. It's in there. It's in the description below. Like, make sure you guys go and watch that entire expose. It goes on to show you how, they had that lawyer who was sitting there saying it's illegal for me as an adjuster to not place to basically omit information that needs to be fixed. What's the best way to say this? I'm saying it wrong. It's illegal for him not to report damage that he sees is obviously done by the storm, right? So it's illegal for him to do that. But that desk adjuster thing, it's not illegal for the desk adjuster to do that. So what they said was, they were like, hey, this thing happened. And they were like, oh, there was a computer glitch. We should have taken the name of the adjuster off of the report once we modified it and put our person's name on there. But there was a software error. It was a glitch. Our bad. Sorry. I think that's like a fine or something like that. And that's what they're standing on. So they know what they're doing. And they're just standing on that. Right. And there is local news coverage of this, where they actually talked to Governor DeSantis, and he was saying, like, there's no funny business going on, blah, blah, blah. Again, this is before Milton and Helene. So, bro, I'm telling you, they realized probably a month ago, maybe longer, that the system is broken. right? I'm pretty sure there's people from the industry saying, listen, man, this is the deal. If these insurance companies pay out the way they're supposed to pay out, all these insurance companies go bankrupt. All of them. They all go bankrupt, right? All those jobs are gone, right? They're all bankrupt, so what we got to do is do what we got to do so at least these people get a little bit of money. I believe that that's what they're facing. It's terrible, right? It's absolutely terrible that that's what they're facing. But hey, man, it is what it is. It is what it is. This is what's going on down here in Florida, guys. Right. And here's the thing. There's another 60 Minutes expose that they did back in 2015. This was from people in New York, in the state of New York. Same thing. Same thing. They had adjusters go out. The adjusters came back, and the insurance companies were like, nope, we're going to use our own numbers. We're basically going to send our own people out there. We're going to make up these numbers so we could pay less. Same thing. So if it's going on in Florida, deep red state, going on in New York, deep blue state, you best believe it's going on all over the country with everyone else. You best believe that's what they're doing. So this might be the first domino, because this time is going to affect the housing market, right? This time, everyone's eyes are on this thing, and Florida doesn't seem to have a plan, right? There is no money. Florida doesn't have the money. Remember, all their money, a lot of their money is tied up in that citizens insurance that is backed by the state taxpayers. So that's insolvent. We know it's insolvent. Ron DeSantis said 2 years ago that citizens can't handle a major storm. There's been 2 major storms in the past month. We already know that it's done. It's done. Florida doesn't have any money. They are going to have to go to the White House, cap in hand, looking for a bailout. And I don't believe the federal government is going to do it. I don't care if Trump is the president of the United States. I don't think he's going to do it. And I don't think Kamala Harris will do it. Now, they'll probably work with him to try to find some solution. But at the end of the day, the rich people are going to take a haircut and the poor people are going to get scalped. That's my take on that, guys. I appreciate y'all rocking out with me. Man, it's too bad we couldn't watch the rest of that. Actually, we got to watch a lot more than I thought. Man, I wish we could have gone through the whole thing. Please go and watch that video. Go into the description below, click on that video, watch that video, man. Give them a like and everything. Check out that video. You got to watch the rest of that thing. This is what's going on. This was going on. The story we're watching 2 years ago. That was Hurricane Ian. What do you think they're doing now? I'm here to tell you that the correction has begun. This is going to affect the Florida housing market. It's already done it. It's already affecting the Florida housing market. Right? All we got to do now is wait for it to play out. It's just a matter of time. We're just waiting for this to play out. That's all. I hope you guys are still with me. But I'm done. Appreciate you guys rocking out with me. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about some red pill stuff. And I'm probably going to jump on Saturday or Sunday. I want to talk some more about this insurance stuff. I'm out looking for stuff. If you guys find something, hit me up. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm trying to find here it is right here. Hit me up on Instagram. If you guys find something, shoot it to me. If we can, we'll play it. Let's see if we don't get shut down. We'll play it. We'll talk about it. But this is a huge issue. This is going to affect everyone down here in Florida, even the people who aren't buying. This last thing, I'll throw it out there for you. I know that the governor wanted to basically impose on the rest of the state, all homeowners will have to pay for like extra insurance. Like all homeowners will have to have either flood or homeowners insurance for storms and this and that. And the reason they wanted to do that was they're trying to get money flushed in there. So when the big storm came, the insurance companies would at least have money so they can cover basically the people who are living, in the flood areas and on the beaches. But that never really occurred. Like these storms hit. So it's over, man. It's over. I don't know how this is going to play out, but this will be one of the lead stories moving into 2025. This is definitely a crisis. All of the Gulf states are going to get involved as well, especially Texas and California, right? With those wildfires. And I'm telling you, when that big earthquake comes, bro, like we're just barely holding on, guys. We're just barely holding on. So this is why people always talking about who's the president, man. Y'all better be worried about who's your governor, who's your mayor, right? You need to be worried about, the elected officials you have in your state. Don't be worried about what they're doing in DC. Because here the people in Florida are about to find out. DC don't care. It's not their problem. They're not, I just don't see them bailing out the state of Florida or California or Texas or North and South Carolina. I just don't see it happening. I could be wrong. So that's it. That's all I got, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I enjoyed, bringing that to you. Man, so sorry that it got shut down there with the 60-minute story, but bro, make sure you guys watch that. Watch it 2 or 3 times. Send that to your friends. Make sure you check that out. It's crazy. And like I said, this happened in 2015 in New York. Same thing. In the state of New York, same thing. I think it was Hurricane Sandy. Same thing. They didn't want to pay out. No one's gone to jail. The play is this, guys. Your insurance company is going to force you to force them to pay you out. You're going to need a lawyer. You're going to need a really good lawyer. And that's probably going to hit you $150 to $300 an hour, it's sad, but you're going to have to fight it because the state government's not going to step in and help out, guys. So if you're in that situation, if you can, get yourself a lawyer. Otherwise, make sure that you're looking at that AM Best that Brother Donnie was telling us. Look at that AM Best. Make sure you get yourself a good company, good reputable company. Make sure you do that. Make sure you read your policy, all of it. If you don't understand your policy, go ahead and pay that attorney to help you understand that policy, to read through it so you can prepare yourself. Right. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to fight, guys. You're going to have to fight. So that's all I got, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for rocking out with me. Monday, I'll be back on a normal schedule, Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, I'm going to be popping up. I'm sure I'll pop up tomorrow, Saturday, maybe even Sunday. Definitely going to be talking about some dating, slant, red pill stuff. But I'm going to keep coming back to this, guys. I'm going to keep my eye on this. And, of course, we're going to talk about the election. We're what is it? Is it 20, 21 days away from the election? Still too close to call. Donald Trump is doing everybody's podcast. It looks like Donald Trump and Kamala Harris may be doing Joe Rogan, of course, at separate times. It is what it is. But Kamala is really, really doing well with white women in America. And a lot of people might start laughing, like, what does that mean? That's good news for the Dems. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll do a quick show about that to show you when I'm talking about the percentage, how important is the white female vote in America. Is extremely important, way more important than the black male vote, way more important than the black female vote, to be honest with you. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. And if you're a Donald Trump fan, hey, he's neck and neck right now. It's still anybody's race, but he's still out there doing Donald Trump stuff. But he ain't out of it. So if you're a Trumper, he's in the race. And it's all going to boil down to Pennsylvania. If whoever wins Pennsylvania is going to be the next president of the United States of America. You heard it here, fucking first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So that's it. That's all I got, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for rocking out with me. Brother Casual Germ, I didn't even get a chance to show you some love. There you go. That's for Casual Germ and everyone else. I hope you guys have a good night. I'll be talking to y'all tomorrow. I'm DL Saint. This is That Really Want to Know podcast. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.